Hello thrillers, welcome back to this tutorial today on Yonsei Thrills on a very simple but yet thought demanding dress to make. So here I have 2 yards of fabric with my lining and let's go over to the tutorial. So I folded it once and I'm also going to fold it again. That is for the front and the back. So okay, I've already arranged it and I've marked out my starting point, which is usually half an inch, and from there I start marking. So my shoulder to my bust, I mark it 10 inches, and shoulder to the hip. I forgot to mark shoulder to waist, then shoulder to the length of my dress. You mark it, and then I'm going to rule a line across it. So I'm just repeating the same thing to get a straight line. So I've marked a line, and on the hem I've added 1 inch hemming allowance. Then the next thing is our neck. So I'm making use of a neck of 4 inches, and a neck depth for the back I'm making use of 1.5, and for the front I'm making use of 4 inches, though I'll increase it later on. So I'm just going ahead to mark it out. And my shoulder is shoulder to shoulder is 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches, so I'll mark it, and then the remaining one will be for your sleeve. So this is what you will consider. So I'm making use of the whole thing there for my sleeve allowance. Sorry, for my sleeve. So because this is a cut together sleeve with the dress, I'm coming down here with my shoulder slope because our shoulder is slant of 1.5 inches, and then from there whatever opening I have there, that will be my sleeve opening. I'm making use of the whole thing, that is shoulder to bust. Then on the bust I'm marking my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'm adding 1 inch is allowance and also 1 inch for sewing allowance. On the hip also, hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch is plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So now I just remembered I've not marked my shoulder to waist, and that is what I'm marking, 16 inches. So I'm just labeling it bust, waist and hip. So on my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease and another 1 inch for sewing allowance, that is the side allowance. So I've marked everything. And on the hemline, just the same thing I have on my hip, I'm also marking on my hemline, then with the 1 inch sewing allowance. Then I will go ahead and rule everything out properly, just the way I am doing. Then for the sleeve, because we don't want to have a sharp edge, just watch what I'm doing. I'm just covering it out to eliminating every sharpness, and I'm also adding allowance for the sleeve, just having it half-inch allowance for the sleeve. Then on the shoulder, half-inch, on the neckline, half-inch, both for the front and the back, as you see there already. Then I'm going ahead to, I've placed my lining also just the way I folded the back, sorry, the main dress. I folded my lining, and I'm going ahead to cut everything now. So you can notice I cut the back neck first. That is what you would do. So just go ahead and cut your own. And this is it. Now I made the lining shorter by 1 inch because, okay, you would see the effect. So just make your own lesser. Then I'm separating this, notching the center and taking away the back side to cut my front neckline. So this is it. You also do it on your lining. You notch the center. So now I'm placing it right side to right side, and because our lining is shorter, I'm dragging it down and I'm going to sew it there first with half an inch. When I'm done sewing, I will now arrange it, drag it up and place it just the normal way it should be. When I must have done that, I'll now go ahead and sew the side. I'll sew it with 0.25. Sew the side. This is, just for neatness, okay? I'm just going to turn it with the lining. So you do the same for the other side too. And this is what I have. Sewing it with 0.25 just to have a neat side edges. And now you see the effect of making your lining shorter on the hemline. Now we are done. So the next thing is to join on the shoulder and place it right side to right side, back and front. And instead of sewing it just straight, we want to have a neat shoulder lining. So I'm going to use the lining of the front or the back, whichever one, and I'm going to overlap it on the other side just the way I'm doing, and I'm going to take it to sewing machine and sew it with half an inch. I'll also do the same for the other side. So this is it. Now, placing it normally, you see the raw edge is not showing. Now, because we have a sleeve fly, I already have a fabric here cut on the just the length of the sleeve, and the width is 5 inches. On fold, it will be 2.5. 0.5 is for sewing allowance, so I will place it on the wrong side and sew it with 0.5. Do the same thing for the other side also. And this is what we have here. So we are going to turn it towards the right side, and this is how it will be. Okay, now I noticed that the neckline wasn't passing through the neck, so I'm just going to cut it down the more by 2 inches. So in total it is 6 inches, and on the side also I'm just taking out half an inch and connecting it. So I'll cut it out. After this, I'm going to take the round measurement, but excluding the 0.5 neck allowance we have. So whatever I have here, I'll multiply it by 2. That will be the circumference. So, but whatever I have here, I'm going ahead to cut a fabric, and I'll mark, this is on fold, I'll mark whatever I had there and add 0.5, then the how long I want it to be, and it will be on fold. So when I did this initially, this was what I had, and although it looked good on its own, it didn't give me the style on the thumbnail, so I had to think and try another method. And this is another fabric, you know, just the same way, measuring the round neck, and half of it is 15.5. So I go ahead to cut a paper, and this paper I'm assuming is on fold, which is 15.25. It's what I have here, 15.25. Lengthwise, I have 5.5. So I'm taking here as the center front, and from the center front, I'm going up by 1 inch, and I'll connect it down just the way you see. So I'll cut that out. And when I'm done, I'll fold this paper. I want to have a slash here, so I'm just folding it to get, respective centers. And when I open it up, now I know how to cut. So on this part will be on that will lie on the neck. So on that side, I'm going to have my cut. I'm going to slash it from there, just as you see me do. Slash it, but don't cut the whole thing. And we are going to spread this. So I'm spreading it with I spread it with 0.625, but I'll advise you spread yours with 0.5 or even 0.365. So just see what I'm doing. I just use gum to tape it down with another paper, and I'll do the same for the others. So use less than I did so that yours won't keep much at the neck. Then we move over to cutting it, and this is a fabric. I'm folding it horizontally and vertically again. So I'll place, this is my center, then I'll place this, matching it center to center, and I'll go ahead and pin it. So I'm giving 0.5 all around it, and I'm going ahead to cut it just like I've done already. So I'm taking out the pin, and I'm notching the center up and down. Then I'll place this right side facing right side, and on this upper region, please note yours, I'm going ahead to sew mine with 0.5. Just sew it there, but here I'll assume I've sewn it, but I'll just pin it, as you can see. So I just pinned it, and I'll open this up when you must have sewn yours. So you're going to fold, hold these two sides together, just fold it together, and you also sew that side with ½ inch. And I've done that already, and this is mine. So I'm just putting it together already. So this is the main fabric, and from the wrong side, I'm going to match this, the back neck to this side. I'm matching it already. I'm pinning from the wrong side. So, and I'm going ahead to match this center too. I notched my center, so to the center front also, I'm going to pin it down there just to have a perfect lining. Go ahead and pin yours, and I'll go ahead and sew it by ½ an inch. So we are done sewing that, and now is to okay, I'm just turning it over. So the other side also, I'm going to go ahead and, what we are trying to do here is to have a neat neckline. So I'll fold this ½ an inch, make sure it is covering that line we have there. I'll fold in the ½ an inch, make sure it's covering that line. Then I'll overlap it, pin it, do the same for the other side, and go ahead and do yours all around. So what I will do here is I'm pinning it from inside. So when I'm done, this is what I have here, pinning it from inside, as you can see. So from that inside, I will go ahead and do what we call stitch in the ditch. And it is, we have a previous stitch here. So I'll go ahead and also stitch inside that line. Just stitch it round also. This is to have a perfect line. So you can see from that side, you can't see the stitch, but from the other side, you see the stitch. So once you're done with that, go ahead and iron. So please, I will advise right here that you make use of a fabric that is like a cotton fabric, because this fabric has weight. Just make use of a lighter fabric. This will give you a perfect neckline, unlike mine. It has weight, so it's not too relaxed even after ironing. So finally is to join the sides, right side to right side, and on those sleeves, remember you are putting the fly inside. So I'm just trying to arrange it here properly, and then hold it down, and that side, remember it's 1/2 inch. Okay, now remember that we have already turned the lining with 0.25, and our sewing allowance normally is 1 inch. So now 0.25 out of 1 inch, we have 0.75. So that is what I marked right down. Mark the same thing on the other side, and we are going to sew it on both sides, and that is all. Okay, I actually wore this to the back side. You see the neckline is on the back side, but on the thumbnail you can see the effect when it's on the front, and this is it. So you can wear this both ways. And thank you very much for staying with us. See you on my next one, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, please go ahead and subscribe, like and share, and bye.